All right. It's 8 to 5 already. I guess the rest will have to join us. For the posted on the group in case probably they missed the information or they carried away. Okay. Okay. So I was asking how many of us was did not get the formula. Okay. Tried but got lost at the second criteria. Okay. You should have reached out to me. I've probably posted it on the group when you were facing difficulties. Actually. Uh, coming on to share my screen. Alright, okay, let me know as soon as you can see my screen, everyone. Alright, thank you, Kingsley. Alright, so I had a few of us in my DMs trying to get their way around the functions, well the especially the conditional functions, that's average, if, sum, fair, count, minimum or maximum. Because I was able to explain to those that came to my DM before. So what I'm just going to do is I'll do a recap on it before we go into today's class for today. So this table, so I'm going to fill in this table, right? I guess I'm the only one that has not filled. Let me check. Is Pius did not fill. Oh, Tito, okay, Tito has filled us, not filled it finish. I'm trying to get someone that's filled it finish. Okay, yeah, someone like this has filled it finish. So I want to assume that I'm the only one that has not filled my finish. So I'm going to do that now. And while I'm filling it, I'll explain uh, how I'm able to arrive at those values. So I'm going to clear everything out and delete. So I'm going to start afresh. Okay, so now I have a clean sheet. Now, okay, so let me go through it. So in this table, we're asked to find the average fair price, right? And so the average fair price of drivers, of course, these are drivers data set that was created by us. We are asked to find the average fair price for the male drivers and the good drivers. So the male, that means they belong to the male gender, and the good drivers that belong to the that their experiences are good. So this goes across good, fair, bad, male, and female. So I'm going to do for male now. Now to do for male. So the point is to calculate average. So of course I'll be using average. And since I'm calculating for multiple conditionals, so I have to use average ifs. So average ifs. Now the average range is the set of values that I'm going to calculate the average operation, the average mathematical operation on, right? That's from here to here. And I move on to the criteria range. So this means that the particular criteria I want to attach to it, the particular conditions. So the range first, the range of the criteria. So the range I'm going to be doing for experience and gender. So let me do experience first. Then insert the criteria which I want. So I want just male and a comma. Then the next criteria, that's the range.
Please, can you increase your
Oh,
screen, the fonts? I can barely see, please.
oh, sorry.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Okay, I think I was able to zoom in from here. Okay, maybe it's because it's locked. Let me unlock it. Text the sheets. Um, cancel this. Once we remove the permission. Okay, let me just neglect this. Let me just use this. Yeah, is this okay? Let me know if this is better. If you can see it clearly.
Yes, please. It's okay. Please, can you start from the beginning again? I couldn't really see It was very little then. Thank you.
All right, okay, no problem. So I'm trying to walk you through how to get how to use any function you want to use. So for instance, now I'm trying to get I have to get the average fare price for drivers that belong to the male gender and belong to experiences that are good. Of course, we are going to do for fair, we are going to do for bad, but I'm trying to make an instance with the male gender and the good experience. So what I'll do is, I first of all start with this. I put an equals to. So I'm have to use the average, perform an average operation. So average is a mathematical function, and so this average now depends which of the average am I using. Am I using this average? Am I using this average? Am I using the if or the ifs? Now this what you want to do will determine which of the functions to use. Now I'm performing an average on multiple conditional statements. So I'm dealing with more than one conditions. So I'm going to use the one that can allow that, which is average ifs, right? So I pick average ifs, then I go on to put the value. So if I come here, you're going to see, okay, I think I can click this, yeah. So if I come here, you're going to see the list of things and how to arrange them inside this. Now the first one says average range, right? So that's the range of the values that I want to perform the average operation on. Average is a mathematical operation, so I want to perform it on the fair price because that's what we have to do, right? So I have that. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So the next one is the criteria range. Now this is the range of the first criteria that you want to attach, the range of the first conditions. So if I'm using the gender, if I want to check for male, whether it is male or female, I'm going to have to use the gender range, the gender criteria. So this is the range of values I'm going to use. I'll probably start from here. Then I'll go on to this. Then I move on to, okay, what is the range, what is the actual condition I want to attach to this? So I can attach male. Now I've sorted the first criteria. Now the second criteria is based on the next one I'm going to use, which is the experience, whether it is good or bad or fair. Of course, we want to check for good. So I'll put a comma. If I do that, a comma, then I'll put it in the range. That's this range. And I put a comma. I'm putting the particular condition I want to attach to this range, to this colon, which is good. So I use good and I close this. That's all. And I close enter. So I'll get my results straight up. Now it's even giving me auto suggest, but I'm not going to use that. So now with this, I'll be able to get the fair price of drivers that belong to the male gender and also have good experiences. That's with average fair price. Now with this, of course, the average ifs can, like I said, multiple. So multiple means more than two. Multiple means actually means more than one. So you have more than one criteria. This is what is advisable to use. If I have just one criteria, then I should use average if. So I'm going to do for the female. I hope that's clear. So average if. Okay, actually, I could actually do this and just copy this, right? So this since the only thing I'm changing here is female, so I can just come to this place and change it to female, and I'll get this, right? Then for the fair drivers that belong to the male, so what I've seen is still the same functions we are performing. So I'll change. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to have that. Okay, so difference here is fair. Okay, just do that one by one. Fair. Okay, good. Then bad. Yeah. Then for those that belong to the female category, so I'll just change this to female. Sorry, since already female, I'll change this to fair. So I'll change it to fair. Then this bad. So I'll change it to bad.
You can take that big one, but
Yeah, so that's that. So everything has been filled up. Now for the sum fair price. So I'm to perform the sum operation on also the fair price. So basically all the things you're looking here is fair price. So equals to fair sorry, sum. So performing the sum, but because I'm using multiple operations, so I have to use sum ifs. Then like I said, the syntax are the same thing, are similar actually. So this is also looking for the sum range. We accept the sum range, right? Then after the sum range, now the criteria of which I want to check for, of which I want to attach to this. So which is gender and experience. Now someone asked in the last class, is it does it have to be order? And I said it can be in any order. So I'm going to start this one with experience. So I'm going to put the experience colon first. Then I'll put in whether I'm checking for, what am I checking for? So I'm checking for goods. Then the criterion range for the next colon, which is the gender colon. Sorry. Yes. Then the um the value which I'm going to use here and to be male. Good. So what this tells us is for the male drivers that are good, the total fair price they are able to generate is actually 164,000. So let's do for this one. Let me fill it up. So I'll just come here since I already know what I'm checking for. So good, fair. I hope you're getting it, everybody. You can see it's nothing difficult. Then for female, that's going to be female. Just let me copy this. So this is the first way to fill in all of this. Fair and bad. Yeah, okay. Now for the count fair price, this is more of like you are counting. You are not count is okay, you see mathematical operation. Yes, I would say it's a mathematical operation because you're actually counting. Yeah, it's counting is part of mathematics. So you are counting. So it's not like addition that you are summing. So count is like you want to know the total number of things that are currently present. So you want to know the total number of things that are actually present, right? So that's where the word count comes from. So you are counting. So in this situation now, of course we are dealing with multiple criteria. So it's going to be count is actually. Now in this situation, unlike the rest, you don't have a range of values on which you want to perform an operation on. Unlike the rest, when we're dealing with sum, there was a range of values to perform sum on. When we were dealing with average, there was a range of values, that's numerical values. But when you are dealing with criteria range, it's not like you want to perform an operation. The only thing you are doing is counting. You want to know, okay, how many are appearing currently, how many females we have, how many males we have. So basically that's the concept of counts. Now when you are attaching ifs, you are attaching a condition to it. So in this situation now, I'm going to do the criteria range. So in this situation now, I want to only count for drivers that are male and belong to that have good experiences. So what I'm going to do is I'll attach the criteria range. That's the first one. That's this. Then I'll put in what I want to check for male. Now let me just end this now. If I do this and I press enter, now it's going to tell me there are 10 male drivers. That's using just this. Now if I want to expand it, of course I'm supposed to check for the ones that are good. So now the criteria range, I'll be checking this, I'll be attaching this, so I'm extending this, and I'll have good, and I press enter. So it's now telling me that there are 4 good male drivers actually. So that's the essence of the counting actually. So I hope this is clear to those that didn't get it initially. Nobody's responding. But then for the females, so I just change it to female, then copy this, then paste this. Alright, Visaya. I know there were a lot of people that didn't get it initially, but you guys have decided to leave me at this.
Yes, so I'm understanding it. I'm understanding it.
Thank you. Thank God somebody's responding. Alright, so for the minimum fair price, so this is checking the minimum of like the lowest of the good drivers. Like, okay, let's see the list of the good male drivers. So we are going to be using min ifs, then the range. So that's, I think, D3 to D20. I don't want to keep back there again. Then the criteria range. Now the goods, I think that's F3 F3 to F20. I think it's easier doing it like this. In the criteria range male. Then the next one is G3 to G20. I think the advantage of this is if you know the codes, you don't have to, if you know the cell numbers, the cell names, you don't have to go back. Imagine you have like maybe a thousand rows. That means you have to be going up and down. So I think it's better this way. Okay, what time is wrong? Is it 0? Is the lowest 0? Is there any minimum? Mini ifs D3 to D20. Yes, D3 to D20. Yeah, then F3. Yes, that's this. Then the criteria male. Yes. Then G. Yes. Then good. Oh, sorry. This is supposed to be in quotes. Yeah. So that way there was an issue. So I had to go through it one after the other to find out what went wrong. And sometimes you might not see it. As simple as the codes were, right? We can cause an error in your code, and this is how interesting things like this are. You might not actually see that error on time. So that's just by the way. Good. Let me finish this on time. Okay. Then bad. Then for the female guys, oh, I said female guys, sorry, for the female. So bad, sorry, fair, that went wrong. F-E-I-R. Then this part, that's bad. Of course, we are still going to see the usefulness of all of this, because someone was asking me in my DM how this is relevant. So the maximum fair price, of course, maximum ifs, and the range, like I said, is similar to the rest. D3, D20, then the criteria range, F3, so F20, and is it a male? Yes, male, and female. Oh, the next one is G3 to G20, and it's good. The drivers are close. Yes, so I have this. I just copy this, put it here for the female. Okay, then put the fair price. Sorry, I print everything. Fair, but then for here, female and fair. Copy this, so I can easily do for this part. Yeah. Okay, so we are done filling. Now, what's the usefulness of this? What's inside can we draw of this? So imagine there's a transport company. So let's say, like we said, this is a company that employed these drivers and wanted some information about, okay, maybe it's the end of the year and they need to know who has been working well, who needs to leave, and all of that. So if I come to this table, all of this table, come on. So if I come to this table, not here. Oh, sorry. So if I come to this table, I could see, okay, so it's obvious that, of course, the bad drivers have been generating more. The bad male drivers have been generating more funds for the company, followed by the good fair drivers, and followed by the good male drivers actually. So it shows that, okay, even though they are quite bad, of course they've been generating the highest, and the fair drivers are not too far from them. So if I'm even going to consider this, I'm going to say, okay, maybe the bad drivers have been lucky, and the fair drivers, of course, they have good average experience, so they are still doing quite well. Then if I move to the females, it shows that the female bad drivers have actually had the lowest. So of all these categories, it means that the female bad drivers have been performing the lowest. And of course, when it comes to the good drivers, the female good drivers have actually been doing well, even better than the male drivers. So now, how many female drivers do we even have? We have 18. So now that's another thing. You can put a sum here, so you can have a colon here, maybe to check for, just give me the total number of male drivers. So in this situation, what I'm going to do is so who can tell, this thing already showed it for me. So I was about to ask, but Google Sheet has cheated its way through. So we are going to perform the sum operation for this, and I just click enter, then I drag this down. Yeah, so I have in total 10 male drivers and 8 female drivers basically. So from this table now, you could see that, oh, let's go to the sum fair price. What has been generating more? Of course, in this whole table, the female good drivers are actually the best. They've been generating funds for the company rapidly. Now, then after this comes the let me see. Okay, after this comes the good male drivers. They've actually been generating more funds. Then the fair male drivers, followed by, oh sorry, the bad male drivers, followed by the fair male drivers, then followed by the female fair drivers and the bad female drivers. So that's the hierarchy of what's generating more. So I could see that, okay, how can I make decision based on this? So is this enough to make decision? Those are the things you now consider. Can I make a decision on this? If I'm to make a decision based on this, now it means that, oh, the female drivers, bad drivers are actually not doing well, not doing too well. So probably let her go or find a way to encourage her, find the means of motivation to make sure she generates more funds. So basically that's like drawing insights. So basically if you want to draw insights from this data now, you can see the minimum fair price, who has the lowest. You still find out that it's actually the female bad drivers. If you check the maximum, the one with the maximum, of course, here, surprisingly, is the bad male drivers that actually have the uh, the fair price with the highest number, the highest fair price, which is amazing. Like how could they have pulled that off? So those are meaningful insights that you could generate from this. Like I said, if you are when you are generating insights, it has to be meaningful and it has to be communicable to your stakeholders. They have to be able to understand. You have to find a means of communicating the insights that you have been able to gather in a way that they will be able to understand. So if I take this to them now, I don't think the owner of this company have time to be looking at all of this. So that's when you now begin to do some visualizations. Of course, we'll get to that soon. So that's a recap of the last class and everything that we did in, in a bit. So moving on to today's class, right? So what we are supposed to do. So okay, last week I don't know, I couldn't talk about some terms. So we have I can't remember if I talked on. I only wrote it down, so I don't know if I explained it. But we have missing data, we have numeric data, we have categorical data, and we have continuous data. So when you're dealing with, so what missing data really means or refer to is, so I mentioned in some cases and some data sets that you're working on, you can have incomplete information. So for instance, so if I take a look at the Google form that we filled, right, there are some instances where some parts are actually empty. So probably the user felt like, oh, no need to fill this part. Probably I don't feel like filling it. So there are instances where the data is not actually available for that particular uh, data point. So those are what we call missing data, and where there's usually a method of handling those data, because when you have missing data, it can affect your visualization, it can affect your analysis. So you need to find a way to undo those missing data. Of course, to undo the missing data, you can apply the average. So if you are dealing with numerical data, so you can apply average on that particular data. So the average of all the data, you just fill it in, or you can apply the most occurring data, that's mode. Okay, median is average, then sorry, mean is average, median is the middle number. So let me just write what I'm saying. Sorry, I think this is hanging. Okay, so we have mean, we have median, and we have mode. Of course, these are like the basic ones. There are more advanced ones out there, but these are like the basic ones you can use. And of course, this can be applied to any role. For instance, in this situation now, you might not be able to apply average, but you can apply median, which is the middle. You can apply mode, which is like the most occurring. But when you have such in fair price values, data that has to do with numerical values, you can have all of these three working. You can have the mean, you can have the median, you can have the mode. Usually for numerical data, the usual one that is mostly applied is usually like the mean, the average. So you just use the average to fill in the missing columns. Then for gender, for instance, in this situation, you can use like the most occurring ones. So that's like mode, the one that appears the most. You can use it to fill it. So then median, it depends on the whatever value you are dealing with. For instance, if you are dealing with a time series data, okay, so a time series data is a data that is collected over a certain period of time. So it can be in seconds, can be in days, can be in minutes, but it boils down to milliseconds. So they are arranged, data are collected over a period of time. So they are arranged according to the time. So that's what the time series data is. So in that kind of situation, what you're going to use is the median. So all of this can be applied to sorry, what's going on? All of this can be applied to missing data. And we also have numerical data. I think that's I've explained that. So numerical data, basically any data that consists of numbers. So if the data is filled with numbers, then it's a numerical data. Then you can perform quantitative analysis on it. So quantitative is things that has to do with operations, mathematical operations. So you are trying to quantify. So you need to do basically mathematical operations on those data. So that's what numerical data is. Then categorical data. So categorical data are data that they represent different categories, right? So for instance, now the gender column is an example of a categorical data, right? Because it represents two categories, male and female, right? The experience data represents three categories. That's good, fair, and bad. So those are the only data you're going to find inside the experience column. So that's an example of a categorical data, and it is used for qualitative analysis. So you are trying to check the kind of analysis we call it qualitative analysis. So you are trying to check okay, the count of all the good, the fair, and the bad. So basically, you are not performing mathematical operations like average, mean, mode, sum on those data. So it's a qualitative analysis. Those are the kind of analysis we do on categorical data. Then okay, I think I mentioned continuous data. So these are numerical values that actually take in value within a range actually. So for instance, I could refer to this fair price as a okay, no, that would be wrong because the range of this is endless. The so if a range is attached to it, then it's a continuous data. So it means that the data can go from 0 to 1. So in this case, from 0 to 1, it means that it's endless. So I can have 0.001, I can have 0.345, I can have 0.9999, and I can have 1. So in this situation now, the maximum data I can have is 0. The maximum value I can have is 0. In this, and the maximum I can have here is 1, while the minimum is 0. So this is an example of a continuous data. Now this cannot be classified as that because in this situation I can have fair price as there's no limit for the fair price at all. So if it's possible, you could have a fair price of 0. So maybe the driver was generous, maybe was carrying his family members, so you could decide to carry them for free. So, or if the driver would happen to carry someone that is very prominent, so you could decide to charge them at a very high fair price. So that's an example of. So this is an example of a continuous data. This is an example of a numeric data. This is an example of a categorical data, and I already explained what a missing value feels like, what it looks like actually. So, and missing values are things you should watch out for when you're doing your analysis, so that it won't affect your analysis. You are supposed to check for it. So those are like one of the things you're supposed to check for before starting the analysis at all. Okay, let's check. Do we have missing data? Do we have missing data on the gender? Do you have missing data on the experience? Is there a part that is not properly filled? So I think that's that about that. So any questions regarding that? If you have questions, please, the floor is open. Nobody responded. If you don't have questions, you can say no.
Hello.
Yeah, hello, Chinyere.
Okay, I just wanted to, where you said stated which kind of data each and every one was. Can you just put on top of the like the heading there, like type it or something,
Okay, so
if you don't
okay,
mind?
like an indication.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, an indication.
okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. So, first, can I include this affects my data? Let me start the review. Okay, no. So this is a categorical. Then this is also categorical. Yes, this is there's a list of colors. So I could say this is categorical. This is numeric. We only have one numeric. Sorry. Then the brand of car is actually limitless, so it doesn't fall in this category actually. Assume we're dealing with the type of car, maybe it's an SUV or a Jeep, or I don't know what's the last one. So that can be. Then this is categorical. Yeah, because this is actually it has a bound, so they are just 36 states. Oh, sorry, I have Korean here. So yes, of course they are limited. Of course, we are expecting just Lagos states, but we found that there's South Africa and Korea here. So still a categorical, supposed to be categorical. So this can fall in categorical, depends on how you want to treat it. Because we have Korea and South Africa, that means we can have drivers that are out of Nigeria. So we can decide to treat it as a categorical, and we can decide to not treat it as a categorical. So I'm going to say we're not going to treat it as a categorical. Then names are unique, so they don't fall in numeric or categorical. So that's why these names. So the names, the list are endless actually. So they don't fall in the range of these two. Okay, so I've done that. Let me bold in it. Okay, so moving to today's class. So we are still on conditionals. So we have not really dealt much. So we are going to be dealing with if properly. So I explained there was a class, I think it was 2 classes ago, that I talked about these functions and or yes, and or. So we are going to be using this in conjunction with the if statement. Oh, sorry, I said if statement with the if function. So if and or. So I want you to follow me closely because it's about to go down. So let's do this. So let me come here. So I'm still going to work on the same sheet so that it'll be easier for us. So let me just what's this? Okay. So let's stay at this edge. Let me clean this off. Yeah. Delete. Come on. So starting from here, so the if is a conditional statement, of course, if, and you use it to check if something is either true or false, then you perform something on it. So let me just go straight to this. So if is actually can be gotten with the if function if. So this is if is. We also have ifs, that's multiple, and we have if and a. So this is if, and this is if and a. So most of the time when you see NA at the back of things like this, it means NA simply means non-value. Sorry, it means not available. That's the meaning of NA, not available. So if NA now means that you are trying to check if if there's a not available, if there's a data, or how should I put it, if there's a particular part of the data that is not available. Yes. So let me go back to if. I just have to explain that. So if, then if now. So the logical expression. So the simple one we used the last time we checked this was so we want to check if the let's do something simple. So if this fair price is greater than this, right? That's D4 and D5. So let's go back. So escape. So this D4 greater than D5 and put a comma. Now if it is greater than D5, now what do we want to, if you just do this, you probably get, okay, sorry, it has to take in a value compulsorily. So if you do this, you have to put in a value if true. Remember, if it's just this I want to run, D4 equals to D5. Let me copy this and break it down here, and I put equals to, and I put this and I put this, I'm going to get false, right? So we already know that D4 is greater than D5. Sorry, D4 is not greater than D5. Now coming back here, now knowing that this is what I want to do. So I want to check, okay, if D4 is greater than D5, that's if it is true. Tell me, what should I use? Tell me, okay, let me say, I need a word. Okay, let's just say good driver, right? And if it is false, that is, if whatever I'm trying to check is false, then tell me bad driver, and I click enter too. So I'll get the bad driver. Why? Because the function here, the condition here, the logical expression here says that if whatever is here is true, then do this. If whatever is false, and what is here is false, do this. So that's like the basics, the basic about if. So if is just to check, okay, if this is true, do this. If this is false, do this. Of course, I have to bring it down here to check, so that if this is actually false, come on, do this. Then if it's actually true, sorry, I think, did I put this here? Oh, this is supposed to be here. Okay, so if it is true, evaluate this first one. Then if it is bad, do this. Do we get that? So let me know if it's getting tricky. Did we all get that? Okay, is the only change I didn't get that? Okay, I only have 2 respondents. 3. I think we're up to 12 in this class. I only like 2-3 people answering. Please, what's going on? Okay, so I'm going to take that again. So now we are talking about if. So from this word if. So if is like, okay, I think I used an example the last time. So for instance, okay, yeah, I remember. So I was using day and work. So for instance, I'm an employee in a company, okay, and I need to determine the type of clothes I wear depending on the days. So I'm saying that if it's a Friday, I have to wear a native. If it's not a Friday, then I have to put on a corporate wear. So the condition there is that, okay, if today is Friday, then I'm putting on a native. If today is not Friday, then I'm not putting on a native. So the condition there is that determines the kind of clothes I put on is if today is Friday. So if the day, if that evaluator is true, that is, if today is Friday and that is true, then I'm putting on a native. So if I should put down here, so let me just do something like something simple. So if, okay, let me just say if today is Friday, then native, else not, oh, let me say corporate. So if today is Friday, now if this first one evaluate as true, if this first statement evaluate as true, then this is what is going to be executed. This is what is going to come up. And if this first statement is not true, this is what is going to come up. Do you get it? Chinere? Chinere, is it clear now? Okay, not getting any response. Okay, yeah, thank you. So now that's the explanation for the if statement. So it can be applied to various nouns. Let's take, for instance, let's apply it to what we have here. So let me say if the sum of the male drivers is greater than the female drivers, that means we need to generate the sum for this. So let me say equals to sum, the value, that's J5. Okay, so I've done the sum for this, so let me extend it. Yeah, so I want to now check. So if the sum of the male drivers is greater than the female drivers, tell me that the female drivers are better. So let's do this. So if equals to if, then the logical expression we want to use, so that's if m5 is greater than m6, right? If m5 is greater than m6, tell me that the male drivers are better. The male drivers are better. Then if not, that's what the second one means. The second one is like if not, if it is not true, then it means that the female drivers are better. So this is now going to tell me that, oh, the male drivers are better. Why? Because the average fair price for the male drivers is actually greater than the female drivers. I can try to change this to, okay, let's check if the average fair price for the male is greater than, for the good male drivers, if it is greater than the female good drivers, then what am I going to do? Tell me. So the what you can do with this is actually endless. So the if there is just a conditional statement to tell you, okay, if this is true, do this. If this is not true, do this. So it can actually take in more things actually. So and I can include other things into the if statements. Of course, we are going to see an if inside another if statement. Actually, that's possible. But before then, let's bring in two things together. So I said I was going to attach and or into this. So of course, I explained what an and statement means. Let me see if I can find the sheets that we used, so that it's going to be much way easier. Okay, yes, is this it? Yeah, I've seen it. Let me share the screen. So share. Okay, now to just share the screen. I'm trying to present it. Let's change it. Okay, maybe we can change it from here. Yes. Okay. Let me know if you can see my new tab. Okay, cool. You can change this one. Yeah, so this is, so we are going back to revisit the hand logical function. So the difference between a logical function and a conditional function is an hand function, a logical function, when you're using a logical function, is going to return a true or a false. So it can only return that for you. But when you are dealing with a conditional functions, it means that you are attaching a condition to it, and based on the uh, based on the logical function that is returning, based on the logical value, sorry. So we have two logical value. So the two logical value we have are true and false. True and false are the logical values you use. So if you are using a logical function, it's going to return just true and false. Now when you are dealing with a conditional function, now it's going to be dependent on the results of this to give you an output. So whether it is true, remember when I was showing you if, I said when the first one is true, then it evaluates as it gives you whatever you have put in, and when it is false, it gives you another thing. So basically it's dependent on these values, true and false actually. So now moving on to explain an hand. A hand function basically takes in a number of inputs, but it's only going to evaluate as true when one of the inputs is 1. So in this situation now, 1 is a positive value, 0 is a negative value. You can also see 0 as low, then 1 as high. In fact, this is actually the way a computer works. A computer only sees 0 and 1. Every other thing has been done to make sure that okay, humans can communicate, but what the computer actually understands is just 0 and 1. So back to the class. So 1 and 1 we evaluate as true. So the and when you're using an enhanced logical function, it only evaluates and give you a result as true if one of the one of the statements here is true. So you can also see 0 as 0 equals to false, and you can see 1 equals to true. So you can see 0 as false and you can see 1 as true. So if you have to replace this, you say everywhere you see 0 here, you can put it as false. So let me now show you. So I said anywhere in this function where all the values there are true, then what will be returned as a result when you're using AND is true. But if there contains a false value in anything you are doing, it's going to return a false. Now let me show you a brief example of that. So for instance, we have 11. Sorry, let me take this a bit further. So in this situation now, I have 11, I have 12. So let me do something like this, just generate more values. So I have 11, I have 12, I have 13, I have 12, I have 14. So I could say 11 greater than 12. Sorry. So 11 greater than 12, that's false. Now then I have another value here that says is, sorry, I think that went away. So what did I use again? I think I used 11 greater than this. See, I use enter. Now that's saying that is 11 greater than 12, of course. Then I have another statement that says is 13. I'm sorry, let me use this. 13 greater than 12. Sure. Now these are two independent values that I've evaluated. Now I can now put an AND here equals to AND, and now check for this. So I could now say I will just combine this together. So this is P5 and sorry, P5 to P6. Yeah, so I'm going to get a false, right? Now let me add another let's say 14, sorry, equals to this greater than 13. So I have two true. Let me add one more false. So 15, sorry, 15 is lesser than oh sorry, lesser than this. Yeah, so I have two true and I have two false statements. Now here I'm using the hand on these two first statements. So if one of these statements is true, sorry, if one of these statements is false, then the result you are going to get is always false. And if if all of the statements is true, the result you are going to get here will be true. So to demonstrate that, this is and then I have this, and I put it here. So you're going to say true. So I could decide to combine these two truths and this false. So to combine that, I'll just extend this to P8 and you find out it's not false. So the example I was able to give using an example, a real life example, a situation is, for instance, now I'm being asked to go to the market to get something. So I was given 1,000 naira. So I was told specifically that if the price of fish is 200 and the price of pepper is 800, I should buy those two things. And if one of the prices is greater than that, I shouldn't bother buying at all. So the only thing that needs to be evaluated is, okay, is one of those statements false? If one of those statements is false, then I have to neglect buying anything at all. If the price of fish is 200 and the price of pepper is 800, that means I can't even afford to get anything. So don't bother buying anything at all, just come back home. That's an example of hand. So if one of the statements is false, then return false. Just return the false. Now that's the explanation for an hand statement. Now if you're now dealing with or, the or, I think the or should be here. Let me reduce the sheet, sorry. 100. Okay, I think I have it here. I did or, yeah, seen it. Sorry, I'll increase it back to 150. Yeah, so this is the whole statement I have here. Now the or is a bit similar to the and. The only difference is that this we evaluate, we return a true if any of the statements is true. So if any of the statements is true, it's going to return a true. It's going to evaluate as a true. So for instance, let's say, so using the same market scenario, Max will go to the market, get fish and pepper. So now it says if the price of fish is 200, or the price of okay, don't let me use that. Let me use an example with the weather. So if it's a raining day, I should take an umbrella. Or if it's not raining, don't take an umbrella. Did that go through? Using the or. Okay, let me just go back to the market scenario. So it's very simply like if the price of fish is 200 or the price of pepper is 800, gets one of them. So this time around, if I find out that the price of pepper is 15 but the price of fish is still 200, I'll get a fish. And if the price of fish is 1000 and the price of pepper is 800, get the pepper. Now in that case, one of the statements is true. So the only reason why I have to get a true, why I have to get something, is if one of the things I want to get is actually available. That's the only thing I want. Now if none of them is available, then obviously I can't buy anything. So if I'm to implement that here, okay, so that's, let me use the example that we're using here. So this was for and this was for and. So let me say oh yeah. So for all, I could just say if this and this, that is false and this false, what you call that, I'll use or, then put this, then do this, then do this, and put equals to. So if one of you can see, only value here is one is true, that's all it needs. But if both of them are false, for instance in this situation where we have two false value, so I would say or this and this, and I close this and I get a or. That's a false. So if both of them are false, then they are going to return a false for an or. So I've explained the and the or. So before we move forward, let me know, is this clear enough? Is this well understood? Please let's respond. I don't know if there's any one of us that is currently trying it out to see. Okay, let me know, is anybody trying it out currently? Overall, okay. You want to say something? Please let's respond. Oh.
No, I'm not saying anything. I'm actually trying to try it out, but
Oh, okay, all right.
I kind of lost you in the process while we visited. Yeah.
Fisayo, your head is turning on its own. Ah, okay. Did you understand the example I used with the market scenario, Fisayo?
No,
Ah,
no. Like I'm trying to keep up, but
okay. Okay, I'll use that same market scenario. So this time try to get it. So I made this very simple. I said, okay, I'm being asked to go to the market to get some things, food item, and I was given 1,000 naira, and they told me to get only two items, right? Based on instructions, get a fish and get a pepper and get pepper. Now they now attached a condition. So if the fish is 200 naira, and now pay attention to the and because I think this is something we use actually in our day-to-day activities, and pepper is 800 naira. Both of them sum up to 1,000. That's 800 and 200. Get pepper and fish. But if now the fact that they've used and simply means that if any of them is exceeds the price, or even if it's lower than the price, because they've told me that and explicitly stated that if pepper is 800 naira and fish is 200 naira, get the two of them. So that's the example of and. So if I get to the market and I see that pepper is 800 naira, and I see that, oh, even the fish can even be less at 150, because they've explicitly told me that if the pepper is equals to 200, they could have said if the pepper is less than or equals to 200. That means if the pepper can be gotten for a lesser price or equals to that price, get pepper. Get fish. Now that's using and. So and means that both of them has to be true. If I'm going to the market, if I found out that pepper is 800 and I found out that fish is 500, I have to just turn back and be going home. If I found out that fish is 800 or fish is 15 and pepper is even lesser, maybe 15 naira. Yes, pepper is lesser. Turn back. I'll just be going back home straight. In that situation, I don't have anything to do. That's an example of and. Now, if I'm dealing with or, So use the or statement. Now, in that same scenario, if I have, so I was especially told, okay, oh, this guy go to the market, go and get fish and pepper for us. Okay, so if fish is equal to 200, if the price of fish is 200, or the price of pepper is 800 naira, get the one that is available. That is, if the price of pepper does not is actually 800 naira, get pepper. And if the price of fish does not also exceed 200, or is 200 actually, get fish. Now if you get to the market in that scenario, now going with the instruction that was given, if I get to the market and I'm told, I found out that fish is 200, pepper is 1000, what do I do in that situation? I'll get fish and I'll go back home. If it's the other way around, fish is the exact price and pepper is actually over the budget, what do? I get pepper and I go back home. And if I'm very lucky, if both of them are available, what do? I get the two and what? I go back home. Is that understood? I don't know if you get that scenario. Sire, please, your head must not turn on its own. We have never started, because I have to make sure that we all understand this before I go on to the next one. Okay, good. Now let's proceed. Let's move gently. So I want to now go back to this. So now this was where I was trying to, because I mentioned you're going to use if and had, right? Now remember I said the only issue for if is if the first statement is true, then you evaluate whatever you have in the rest of the syntax. So I'm going to start now. Okay, let me just do what I want to say, what I want to do now. So now in this situation, I want to check if the average fair price of male is greater than the average fair price of female, and the average the sum fair price of male is greater than the sum fair price for female. Now I've brought in two things. This is one and this is another thing. So I use the word and because I want to bring these two together. So I want to check if this is true and this is true. Tell me something. Right? So if this is true, if this male price is greater than the female and this year is greater than the female, tell me that okay, the male drivers are actually the best. And if it is not true, that means the female drivers are the best. So now here comes review. So if, right, now I'm going to now put an and. So let me first of all do this. I'm going to do it separately. So equals to and so the first one is this. If this is greater than this, comma, and this is greater than this, right? So of course that's false. So now I'm going to take that statement, I'm going to come here. Now I'm going to attach, sorry, I have double quotes. So I'm going to attach an, oh, will this allow me to do this? No, it's not allow me. So, and complete it. Now this is hand. Now if this statement, that is if this is greater than this and this is greater than this, now what is the thing that I want to return? Means that male drivers are the best. And if not true, okay, sorry, hold on. So if this is true, this is my logical expression. Okay, sorry, hold on. And okay, let me continue. Yeah, I guess I made a mistake there. So if the male drivers are the best, then the female drivers are the best and enter. Okay, of course, let me wrap this so you can show me properly. Good. So this is what we are going to get now. Now the reason we are getting this is actually because one of these statements is actually false, right? So it's going to execute the second one. So he's seeing this as a false. That means this statement that I put here, he's seeing it as a false. That's why it is evaluating that the female drivers are the best. So if this was true, that is for me to agree that the male drivers are the best, the male drivers have to have average fair price greater than the female, and also their sum of fair price must be greater than the female. So that's the only condition that will tell me that male drivers are the best. But if one of these is false, so that is, if I bring this together and this, if it gives me a false, then it means that the female drivers are actually the best, right? So let me explain. Let me do an example with or. So so equals to, then I'll bring in the if first. Let me just go straight to the point. Then the logical expression I want to add is going to be with or, right? Then what I want to put inside, what I'm checking against for. So let me evaluate this same thing, right? Okay, let me move on. Let me do the minimum price. So let's say if the male drivers have the least price, right? So that's here, and if I click this, yes. So if they have, so e greater than this, so I want to check between these two, and so or, so that is if the male driver's minimum fair price is greater than the female minimum fair price, and if the maximum fair price of the male is also greater than the maximum fair price of the female, right? Then, sorry, what's going on? I'm done. Okay, that's for the or. Then I move on to now explain. Oh, I didn't add another one for or. Yeah, so now I'm done with the or condition. So now I'll now put in what I want to evaluate if it's true. So I could say what would I say in this situation? So if one of this is true, that means okay, let me say good. Let me just say good. And if it's false, let me just say bad. So I'm going to get good actually. So this is it. So do you understand, everybody? Is that well understood? And I did a lot. Oh, maybe it's not a lot. Anyways, please let's respond. Why is it taking time for us to respond? Are people still on this call? Okay, Kingsley is out. Maybe network.
Yes, I'm on this call. Following, but I can't say I understand, but I'll also rewatch the video. So I'm
Ooh,
following you, sir.
okay, all right. No problem. Okay, so that's the if. I explained with if, then bringing in conjunction with and or. Now I mentioned the scenario where I could include another if statement. Actually, it's actually very possible to include an if statement. So the way it's called a nested if. So, nested if. So this is what it is called. So it's like embedding an if into another if. Oh, sorry. Let me use putting an if statement into another if statement, right? So in this situation now, when we're talking about drivers, it's actually not fair to assume that because It's actually not fair to assume that because the average fair price here, if the average fair price here of the male is greater than the female, and the male is greater than the female, then they are good. Then I now say that okay, if it's not good, then that means the female are the best. What if uh, one of these scenario, the male had a very high value? So that is, if you check here now, you find out that the male drivers actually have the lowest actually. Then also here the female. Okay, let me use the tip that is. I think this is greater than this. 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 Okay. I want to use something. Okay, yeah, I can use this. So let's say I'm using sum fair price and minimum fair price, right? So in the sum fair price for the male and the female good drivers, the female had a higher value, while in the minimum fair price the male had an higher value, right? Good. So if I now say the male drivers, if the male drivers has a higher value here and the female drivers have a higher value, times are the best, then the else is now means that if they don't have, if none of the if one of them evaluate as false, then that means the female drivers are the best. That will actually be wrong. So I could easily say, okay, maybe I'll check for this and check for this. Now if I find out that one of this is false, of course it's going to return a false, but I could now extend it to now say, oh, okay, let's say one of this is now true. Let's go ahead to check if which one is true to now give an instance. So this might be a bit abstract. Let me use a simple example. Okay, so we're still going to visit the market situation now. I don't like going to the markets, although, so I'm still being sent to go to the market. This time around, they are telling me to get 3 items. That I get a either I get a fish. What else can I get? Pepper and fish, pepper. What else? Okay, let me see chicken. So I'm being asked to get those 3 things. I'm being asked to get chicken, pepper, and a fish. Now those are the 3 items that was being given to me. So fish price is 200. Pepper price is now 500. Chicken price is now 300. I know this is hypothetical. I know this is not the current price, so please permit me to use this. I actually don't know the prices. So pepper is 500 naira. Let me write it here so I don't forget. Okay, this system is slow. Pepper is 500. Fish is still 200, and chicken is 300. Okay, good. So these are the prices. Now I was now being told that if the price of pepper is greater than is 500, and the price of price of fish is 200, and the price of chicken is 300. I'm using hand now. Get the food items, right? Now if the prices are known out like this, right, what I'm supposed to do in a normal if statement is to turn back home, but then they now attach a condition. Okay, if you now see pepper is still 200 and chicken is still 300, buy pepper and fish. Buy fish and chicken, neglect pepper, right? If fish is not now 200 and chicken too is not if this statement does not evaluate as true, because I used and, if fish and is 200 and chicken is 300, there's a possibility that one of them still has that price, right? So I now say, oh, okay, if chicken is not that price, buy fish 200. So if I go to the market now, be asked to get these 3 things, priority is on let's say priority is on pepper since it's the most expensive, then chicken next, then fish, right? So if I get to the market and these prices are the old statement does not evaluate as true, let's say the price of pepper was actually higher, Then okay, I'm now asking, okay, check, is fish and chicken still that price? Now if it's still that price, get the two of them. If it is not that price, okay, check if the price of fish is still 200, right? If the price of fish is not now that price, then be coming back home. Can you see the difference with using with this example I gave and the first one I gave, that okay, if none of this is true, just come back home. Just turn back and come back home. Don't even bother thinking about whatever, maybe what to do or none of that. So that's the difference between both statements. That's like using in this scenario actually. So now to now implement that, so let me see, let's use the example that we are using. I think I enjoyed this. Pepe is 500. Okay, then just delete that. I put 500. Price of fish 200. Chicken 300. Let me clean this out. Fish and chicken. Yeah, so yeah, we have three things. Now we want to understand what we want to do here. So we are going to start with if, right? If. Now what do you want to check for? Pepe. If all of the three evaluate as true, so I'll be using an AND function. Let me close this. Let me close my if too. It's advisable you work like this. Then I'll now check. Okay, Pepe. Pepe is, what role is Pepe? Pepe. If Pepe okay, if Pepe is equals to 500. So now I have to bring in one more thing. So equals to means equals to and not equals to. There are like two other functions. So to do that, the functions are here. I want to describe it here. So equals to, so if you check, this is NE, not equals to, you put the two values you are checking for, then it's return if it's true or false. Then equals to is equals EQ. Yes, so you put the two values you are checking for. For instance, let's say I'm checking for if 500 is the same thing as what I have in this column, I get it true. And not equals to is not equal, sorry, yeah, not equals to is let me say I'm checking for 500. If 500 is not the same as this, so it should return a false. That means 500, if I'm checking that 500 is not equals to this, so it's going to return a false that way. So I want to bring that into this because I'm going to be needing it actually. So now let me explain that here. So I was writing my if function here, equals to if, let me close it, then I'm going to be using and. So now being asked if Pepe, now if Pepe is equals to that's EQ. So that is like multiple functions. So equals to 500 and Pepe, sorry, and this rule. Then come here. That's the first one. So I'm supposed to close this actually. You're supposed to be very careful of the brackets. That's the first one, equals to. Then the second one is if fish, that's EQ. EQ is 200 and this. Then what am I supposed to do? Now I close this. I didn't close that. Then comma EQ again. I want to check for the last one. EQ for fish. That's, I can actually put this first. I can put this first and put 300. The other doesn't matter. So now I'm done with my hand statement. So if this and this and this, if they are true, what am I now going to evaluate? What's my Have I been closing this properly? No, I've not actually. I just have one more here. So I've done for and. So all of this EQ. Let me maximize. Okay, I think I increased my where does it run to by? Okay, I think this is not funny way. Okay, sorry. I think my system is actually hanging. I don't know if it is running. Let me just operate it from here, up here. So if and equals to, so I think it's easier from here. So the equals to for this, I've checked this. Then the equals to for this, I've checked this. Then the equals to for this. This is where it stops, right? And they are all inside the and. So now I want to go back to, I want to continue to what we now put. So let's say by everything. By,
Sorry, I'm not seeing anything. Is it just me?
okay, let me know if you guys can see my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
I was seeing it earlier, but when you selected the when you adjusted the formula, I couldn't see it anymore.
I want to
Couldn't
know
see
if
what.
you are the only one. It's kind of blurry. That should be network. That should be network from your side. The clarity is actually dependent on network. So if your network is not good, you won't be able to see it clearly. And if you were seeing it before and you can't see it anymore, it's also a result of network. If your network bandwidth is sorry, if your network is not good enough, it will try to minimize the video and you only get to hear the talk. You only get to hear me talk. And if the network is very bad, you don't even get to hear me talk at all. So I want to believe that every other person can still hear me and see my screen. Okay, Nandy can still see my screen. I want to believe everybody else can see my screen. So I'm saying if this price is 500 and this is 200 and this is 300, buy everything, right? Now where does the next one come in? Now value if false. That's where I'm going to put the next one now. The if statement. It's about to get complicated. So the second if statement is now going to be inside here. So I want to check if the value of EQ. I'm sorry. If the value of fish is still 200. I'm just going to copy it since I already have it here. So I'm going to use hand. Open this and close this. Put my hand. Put the comma. Check for the price of, is this pepper or fish? Can't remember. And put it here. Now you see that if this and this is this, then I'm going to say and wait, hold on. So I don't want to get this complicated. Then this is and, okay. Sorry, I'm supposed to put one more. Okay, now for this statement, if it is if this is this, I'm going to say buy fish and pepper. Abi, no, I think pepper is 500, so I'm going to say buy chicken and fish. So buy chicken and fish, right? Good. Now, okay, let me stop here. Let's just stop at now because I can add more. But I'm trying to stop here, so let's see if you understand. So now, if this statement is evaluating as false, if this statement is evaluating as false, uh, I'm going to say comma, come back home, and just stop here. Come back. No. I think I already missed one more. I'm supposed to be inside here. Yeah. So to say come back home, come back home, then enter. So now let's begin to check our values. Of course, the prices are what we have set, right? So and it says buys everything. So let me say I want to change the price of pepper now. Change the price of pepper to 1,000. I'm going to see buy chicken and fish, right? And I decided to just do this. Let me now say fish is no longer 200 naira. It is now 300 naira. Say come back home. Okay, I have to. Oh, sorry. Did I put this here? Yeah. Come back home. Right? So I was supposed to add the last one. Right? I'm going to add it now. But I don't want to add it now because this is looking long enough already. Right? Of course, we are supposed to check for if it's pepper. Now, if fish and chicken are still the same price, get fish and chicken. And the last one is if fish is still the same price, get fish. So instead of before coming back home, I could still check, but let me stop here because I don't know if you guys get this. So let me know. So this is an example of a nested if actually. So I could include multiple if into this depending on what I'm checking for. So I think it's not 9:40 yet. Well, I think we can start taking our questions. For those that are practicing, uh, how is it going? I think Pearl said she was practicing.
No practicing now, but I'll be your DM later. So I'm following the class.
Oh, you be in my DM, okay. Who else is practicing currently? Please feel free to unmute and talk. I've mentioned this time without numbers. Oh, I think the meeting link just went away. Please feel free to unmute and talk. We are all learning here. So nobody's saying anything. Okay, maybe I should start calling him. Uraola, Lawrence, Temu, El Rashid.
Thankful. I
Oh,
haven't gotten it yet.
you haven't gotten it yet. What's the issue?
Nope. Well, it's telling me it's verifying the syntax or something of this name is not correct. So I
Can you
guess probably I've not.
can you share your screen?
Okay, so I'm doing it on my system and I'm listening on my phone.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Uh, is there anybody else? Uraola has answered me. Lawrence has not answered me. Temu has not answered me. Fisaya has not answered me. Kingsley has not answered me. Ninja has not answered me. Olaya has not answered me. Pearl has also not answered me. Chinwe on this call. Chinwe is no longer on this call. Ezekiel, that's Gozim. You've not answered anything. You've not said anything.
So I think for me, I'm getting it, but now it's becoming tricky now. But I think with constant practice, I will get it.
Okay, maybe I should now attach a condition. The way we are doing if and if this is true, do this. I'm going to be attaching the condition. If you are not responding in the class, if I don't hear your voice, don't enter my DM. Maybe that's what I'm going to say. Because this one that we are all not talking, they have to start calling our names to talk.
Please, sir, don't do that. I'm following the class, but my system is not with me. My system is down.
No, it's not a big deal if you are following the class and your STEM is not with you. But it's a big deal when I'm saying, okay, oh, let's talk, oh, and it's like I'm talking to myself. Really, that's the way you guys are making me feel. Like, even if you guys are gurus, right? You're understanding every bit of it. Please talk.
We are here. We are following.
You're making me feel like I'm teaching myself. Actually, that's the way I feel right now.
No, somehow we are processing it in the head. I'm sure that with more examples, as Mayobami said, it will be clearer. It's
Hmm.
just a new concept, so we are processing it somehow.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right, okay. Uh, should I finish this function? This function, this if function, this nested if. I know it's actually complicated. Like if you don't get the process properly, you won't. That's why I had to use the example of a market. I think me going to the market to buy something is actually really hard for me to process too. But I'm just saying that I think that's another thing to you can try to see. Okay, oh sorry, hold on. Okay, like that's another thing we can also try to see, right? Um, software I was using. Okay, stop recording. Okay, still working. Standard. Okay, so let me just go ahead and complete this. We're going to face the mountain together. So buy fish and chicken. What if the price of chicken is now expensive, right? So I need to include that condition here. So I'm going to take this, and to do that I'll now attach another if condition, right? And I'll check. And don't forget, like I said, it's best if you, as you're opening a function, as you're opening the brackets, close it immediately. If you don't close it immediately, it can get complex. Actually, it can spiral out of your hand. So this time around, I only want to check. Now there's no need to add an and statement here because there's only one statement I'm checking for, right? So I'm going to check if this value is equal to this value, and I copy and I paste it into this place, right? And I click equals to. So if it is true, buy fish. Where did my function run to? Okay, it collapsed to the other side. It's still here though. It couldn't contain everything. I think if I reduce my screen size, it's going to contain everything, right? Okay, let me just increase it back. But you know it's still there actually. It's only because my screen couldn't contain everything. So all you need to do is scroll up or scroll down, right? There's a button here that goes up and go down. It's going up and going down now. It's supposed to go up and go down. Maybe it's my system. But I'm using my mouse to scroll up and scroll down anyways. So if this is this and this, buy fish, and let me continue this so that I can see what I'm doing properly. So buy fish, and uh, if you are not able to buy fish, okay, buy fish, and if you are not able to buy fish, come back home. So let's now tweak our values here. So let's say the price of pepper is now back to 500, right? And the price of fish is now back to 200. I'm going to buy everything, right? Now if the price of pepper, okay, went back up with 600 naira, it's going to buy fish and chicken, right? And if the price of chicken too started to go up as per Nigeria issue, you were there last week and it's now 400, buy fish. And if it now remains that everything has gone up, just be coming back home. So that's like an instruction on how to go about that. Now of course I use this example, right? But the same is applicable to I just use that example so that we can understand easily, basically how you can put uh nested if, how you can use if statement inside another if statement. A good example of that is, okay, let's consider a marketing company, right? I think in marketing company they have things that has to do with targets. You have to meet targets and all of that, right? So so a rule was now given that okay, for every marketer you have a target of $10,000, right? You have to hit a $10,000. If you don't hit a $10,000, I could just say, okay, all of you are sacked, or all of you failed for that day. I could decide to now add a conditional if, another if statement to say, okay, if you're unable to meet that $10,000, let's now say you were able to meet your target for that day is greater than 7,000. Okay, because 7,000 is still okay. I could say, oh, you're on probation, and if you're 7,000, if you're unable to meet that target value, it's like you're going to be demoted. So let's say if you don't meet 7,000, then you'll be demoted. If I'm now very generous, I could say, oh, if you get to 7,000, you can't meet 7,000. Okay, if you meet 5,000, that's like the average price. They have the if you check the average price of 10,000, that's 5,000. So if you check, so if you can't meet 7,000 and you meet 5,000, okay, we are going to demote you, right? But you'll be on okay, I think I said you'll be the first one was you meet the targets. Second one is you're able to meet 7,000, you'll be demoted, right? Is that what I said? I can't remember. Okay, if you are on 7,000, it means you tried. That means you were a bit above average. That means we could still accord you some accolades. We know it's not easy. So that means if you get to 7,000, we applaud you, but we will tell you to re-strategize. So what you get is re-strategize. That's what you're going to get. Now, if you don't now get up to 5,000, we are going to tell you we demote you below your class. Now, if at all you're not now able to get to 5,000 at all, I'm just going to tell you to take the exit, like get out of the company. You can't meet up. Like that's even the average value. The normal target is 10,000, but you can't even get up to 5,000. Then just get out of the company, right? That's like sack. So in that kind of situation now, we have 10,000. We check for 10,000. If the target value is above 10,000 equals to 10,000. Now in that situation, I said above or equals to. In that situation, you are using equals to or greater than. If you use equals to there, if the person comes with 10,000 there, the person does not qualify because 10,000 is not inclusive when you're using equals to and greater than or less than. So until you have the equals to, then it makes the 10,000 inclusive. So if it's equals to or greater than 10,000, then oh, you did well. If it's below 10,000 but it's still greater than 7,000, then oh, okay, you strategize. That's still okay. But if it's below 7,000 but you're still able to meet 5,000, that's like the average value of 10k, okay, we'll demote you, yes, but you're still in the company, your position is still safe with us. And if you can't even meet 5,000 at all, you get demoted, right? Okay, so the tax is now the example I just gave, so let me write it down. And that's true, I forgot to mention that. Please, everybody, what's going on? Tax 1 only have 5 respondents. Tax 2, I've not even checked. I don't think they are much. What's going on? Hello? I think it's time. We are done already. So I'm just going to fill in this here. Targets, main targets, 10,000. Please, let's mute our mic, because like I'm going to attach a deadline. You guys want me to attach a deadline to the what's it called? You want me to attach a deadline to the tax. You want me to put a time on it so that when it gets a particular time, it's going to elapse. It's not going to be accessible again, and that's the end. 7,000 the shy. Okay, limited and tweet. Yeah. Okay, just include here. So see, I'm going to release the link to this sheet. So we are done for the class actually.